there's something called depreciation. Now, depreciation is when the value of something decreases because of it getting old, because of wear and tear, because of damages. This is depreciation. So what normally happens is in companies, when they buy, like let's say a car, they give it to a manager. They know that this car is not going to be brand new for its lifetime. So when they give it to a particular manager, they'll say you can use this car when you do the company business. Now, in order for the company to always be ready to buy another car when that one is now old, they do something called depreciation in their books. In other words, they sort of like calculate the value, depreciate the car, make the car lose value until a certain time where you now get what they call a scrap value. So you start out with a brand new car. There is my car there. Love this car. It's a beautiful one. Yes. You start out with a very brand new car and the manager is happy. You know that the manager is going to be happy for some time. Now, after maybe 5 years, because 5 years is a reasonable time, then now the car is now not looking nicely. It's no longer a BMW like the way it looked like, and the manager is now not happy. These are the situations that are happening. This is 5 years now. They are brand new cars. The manager doesn't say. This is the way he sees his car now when he's happy. Hey! But now he doesn't see it as a good car after 5 years because all the other people are driving nice cars. So most companies, what they do to cater for that so that they can buy another car after 5 years, they obviously want to sell the old car after 5 years so that they can at least get a recovery of their money. But they are being realistic. If they buy this car for 3,000 rand, 300,000 rand, obviously when they sell it, they cannot sell it for 300,000 rand. Can they? No. They cannot sell it for 300,000 rand. Maybe they can sell it for 40,000 rand after five years. Now, this is these values which I've just given you. I've just guessed them. I'm guessing that this car which costs 300,000 after 5 years will be worth 40,000, depending on how the manager is driving it. But obviously, when it's a company, they need things to be ordered. You can't just guess a figure and say, oh no, now we're going to sell this car. They can actually calculate the depreciation. So for instance, now the company says, look, they go to the accountant and they say, look, this is a brand new car, it's 300,000 and we want to get rid of it. We want to sell it after 3 years, after 5 years. So let's depreciate it so that we can know what will be the value of the car after 5 years. So now the accountant will say, no, you know what, there are two methods of doing this. There are two methods of doing this. The one method is called the straight line method. The straight line method. And the other one is called the reducing balance method. And then they say, okay, we don't understand what you're talking about. And then the accountant will say, you know what, with the straight line method, it's simple and straightforward. The car will start at 300,000 and it will lose its value at a constant rate until we get to a value, maybe we will call that our value A. That is the amount that we are going to have after 5 years of depreciation. And they say, okay, fine, that one is fine. That means each year it will be decreasing by a constant amount. Then the accountant will say, but you know what, there's also another depreciation depending on how the car is being used. If your manager is always going to be doing rounds, obviously that car won't depreciate with a straight line graph like that one. It will depreciate at a much faster rate so that you start at 300,000 there, but the car will go down very fast, and then as it gets to a certain amount, the value doesn't change, because obviously the car is not going to turn to dust. It's always going to be there. So we agree that at this particular point, there's a time when the value seems not to change. So you see, you can't sell a car for less than the value of the tires, because if you are always buying brand new tires, the cost of the tires will always be there. So now the accountant has explained the two different graphs, one which decreases constantly and then one which decreases sharply and then turns and becomes almost constant. Now those two graphs are related to an accountant, to an equation. So the straight line, for instance, here we will start by saying, look, this is the value of the car after 5 years, that's your A. Then P is the value of the car today. And now we are going to use this formula, and we know that I, obviously we must decrease it by a certain rate, which is a percentage, and then N is the number of years. So now you say, okay, fine, I have my car, and right now it costs 300,000. So that's your P. The actual cost of the car when you started is your P. Then they'll say, okay, fine, what if we depreciate it with a constant, with a rate of maybe 10%? Yeah, because you have to think of a percentage to depreciate it, and we know that we're going to depreciate it in 5 years. So now the car is now undergoing what we call straight line depreciation. So to find the value of the car, which is A, after 5 years, we substitute, that's 300,000, then bracket 1 minus, now our 5 years is 5 over 100, always multiply, then multiplied by the number, it's 10 over 100, the rate, just going to put 10 over 100 there for the rate. 10 over 100, which is 10%, times 5. So you see how this is our I, this is our P. And if you look at that, and you are going to take your calculator and punch this directly into. Now, this is going to give us, after punching our calculator, this is going to give us a depreciated value of 150,000. Not so much as the 40,000 we're talking about, but after the straight line method, that is how we depreciate the car. Now, what if they were depreciating it using the reducing balance method? Now, with the reducing balance method, it's a very simple process, but with the reducing balance method, you are now using A, the amount after 5 years is equal to P, the amount that it is right now, 1 minus, and then now we've got our I, and then to the power of N. Now, remember our P is the value of the car at the beginning, which is 300,000, and our I is the rate that you are going to use. Let's say that you also use 10%, because I'm going to, so you can see the difference. And then now the number of years, again we said it's going to be 5, so N is equal to 5. So when we are substituting, remember we've got our A is equal to P is 300,000, 1 minus our I is 10 over 100. You can't write 10%, so 10% means per 100. So it's going to be that, and then you're going to have that. And then you're going to easily just come in and use your calculator. And your answer will be 177,147. Now, clearly you can see that the two methods are giving us two different values. This is the reducing balance. And normally with the reducing balance, what happens is they apply the rate every time. So at the end of the year, they take the new value, they calculate 10% of that, and they reduce it by 10%, and so on and so on. But remember that we did this in grade 11, so it's just a reminder. So that is the straight line and the reducing balance method.